Well, I do it in English language. I hope you all can make use of it, or yeah, will understand it, what I'm trying to say and explain. I've been asked this question again and again, and I'm getting a bit tired of that because people also ask me about how football matches are going to end, who's going to win. Also, and I say, well, I know it the least from all of you because all I know are probabilities. And there is a probability for this to happen, there is a probability for that to happen. And there is a market, betting market as well, which offers you prices for that. So if you, well, I mean, if there's a heavy favorite and you get a price of 1.1, then you need at least 90% chances to have a good bet. But what would this answer be? I say it's 90%. Okay, you don't have a good bet, but the answer would be 90%. But is it going to happen? I have no idea. So if you think it's more than 90%, you might have a good bet. If you think it's less, you rather lay the price. Anyway, there are just probabilities, and there's a betting market where you can bet on your opinions if you want so. And I've done the same simulation for the Carlsen Anand match. Now we're into chess, and there's a chess match, the World Cup, World Championship, to be played, 12 games. And so if I get asked this question, who's going to win? What do you think? Okay, maybe they want some some points about that. Caruana played very, very well recently, so I think he does have a good chance. I mean, it all comes down to probabilities, and that's all I can do. What I'm still amazed by is that even, well, Saravan and those guys, when they talked about it, Saravan and this Maurice Ashley and Jennifer Shahade, who's actually a poker player too, and so she should know about probabilities, that they, well, somehow give the wrong answer. I mean, wrong, what is wrong? I mean, probability can be wrong as long as they don't take any bets, they're not going to lose money, but even if you lose money, well, who would prove you had been wrong? But usually, I mean, that's also a way of betting making private bets, so to say. You say, well, I take Caruana, you take Carlsen, and that's actually where the term odds comes from, because you say, well, do you give me odds? Some odd price, an odd. I pay you 1.80 for Carlsen to win, or okay, so we have odds. I give 80 euro, you have to give 100 euro, so in case you lose. So this is odd, an odd price. And so what are the probabilities? The wrong answer would be, of course, the result for a single game. Because if they played 12 games, it's a fully different matter. So you couldn't argue about a single game if they are close enough. Of course, this, well, it gets more and more irrelevant because you say they are just the same. So it's 50-50, that everyone would know. But if you would say, even if Carlsen is just 11 point better, 11.7 that is in fact, that is a life rating, right? I don't know I took this from here. I found a page for that, so just to show you the way I do this, those calculations. So here's live chess rating, and you can see me still, and Carlsen Caruana. So 2838.8 and 2828.7. Last update 31 August, so it couldn't be any better. They didn't play since the day before yesterday. Oh no, yesterday that was. Okay, so that's 11.7 points. If they were to play 1,000 games or so, then it would be almost certain, you could say, that Carlsen is going to win, unless, yeah, in this time Caruana is going to develop, so it's still not such an easy answer. But if it were a simulation, then it would make it almost certain. If you have enough time to to make use of your higher abilities, then you can be more certain to win. And okay, so I started from this. This is live rating. I mean, I could update this as well in a week's time, but maybe they don't play from now on until November. That's when the match has been played. But this is what the okay, I can show you the formula here. But this is so to say I'm not saying ELO is quite perfect, and also this formula is not perfect, but it's the one that's been used right now. So you have to say 1 divided by 1 plus 10 to the power of the difference divided by 400. The difference in ELO divided by 400. That's the formula that's been used. So you can look it up, or yeah, well, you can also copy this or pause the video. You can read it. I can actually, well, can I make it bigger? That was silly what I've done here. Okay, so anyway, it comes down, it's 51.68% that Carlsen is going to expect from 100 games, so to say, right? And now we have to work out how the probability is for a single win in one game, because there's no draw probability included into the ELO formula. So this is just a guess, right? I could make this 65%. We would have a different result. I was starting with 60% draws. I mean, yeah, it's just guessed. It could be 70%. It could be 80% as well. 75%. It would not make a major difference here, right? I could enter 80, I think. And so those chances would be reduced a bit. I could make it 70%. The winning chances. And I mean, we can leave it like this, right? Makes no big difference. Carlsen means 60.68% for a win. Given those ratings are, yeah, well, that's what we rely on, so to say, right? That's how it is. And how would I know better, right? This is rating, and ELO rating is working pretty well as long as you play at the same level. If there's big difference, then ELO stops working well. But at this top class, Grandmasters and so on, also the results are a bit more reliable, which is also reflected in the K-factor, which you may know, because the K-factor means how quickly the system would react to a bad or a good result. This is, it does make sense, because you would say, well, if someone reached 2,700, I would not guess that a week later he's only, or I overrated him or underrated. He's just so good, right? So you don't have, so you would not react that quickly to bad results, or also not to good results. Anyway, this is K-factor. Also doesn't mean that much in this moment. Anyway, it would also mean the higher both players are rated, the more likely a draw becomes, right? So I should have actually a formula, and I was working on it and trying to work it out, but you still have those different time controls and so on, where the draw factor, of course, the slower the time control, the less draws there are, or the fewer draws there are. So, but actually you should have a formula, but what would we record and where would we rely on, right? If 1800 plays 1900, you have a different draw probability, and if they play blitz chess or rapid or whatever, it again changes those probabilities. And what I've done now is, so those are the probabilities for a single game, and this is guesses, okay, I admit, but Carlsen is a bit more likely to win a game. It's also not reflecting black and white, but this is, of course, yeah, you could say it's meaningless, but it's not in the end. But if they both play 6 games white and 6 games black, well, yeah, it's still in the end, it's pretty correct. What I've done now is make a random number and like that produce a result, right? So either Carlsen wins, or it's a draw, or Caruana wins. So anything can happen here. And you see here the first match ended 6.5, 5.5. for Carlsen, so he was better. Next one 7-5, he won again. Then he lost 5-7, 8-4, he won. He lost 4.5, 7.5, and so on. And I have no idea. That's just 100 simulations running of the same kind. And in the end, we'll see it's just 100, and we see the percentage. So this was 54-46. So I'll take that number down, or how would I do that? Maybe I'll enter them here and only make 10 of these, right? Or I'd make it a percentage. And now, as I entered it, he made a new simulation. So Carlsen won again. That was 58.5. So to say, he won. He won again. He won again. I mean, it's just that he was better in these 100 simulations, right? He never loses, it seems. Well, that's a bit funny, because he should lose at some point, so I will continue. Well, you could say also, no, you know, it can happen because they are close enough that in 100 repetition of those matches, right, he's going to be losing in the end. It's 100 matches they played, so to say, in the simulation. So why would he lose in 100 matches? I mean, these percentages are already pretty well reflecting that. I mean, I could also run just 100, and then we would have the percentage, so to say, right? I just was trying to make it a bit more right. He usually comes out on top, which I didn't really expect, and still think, well, it happens a bit too often to me. Well, in the end, I mean, what we see here is just that the small percentage, the extra that Carlsen has on a single game, right, which is 51.68. This is rising if you have more games. If they were playing 6 games or 2 games, you could say you still have a better chance as a favorite. But of course, you can have one white game, one black game. Okay, anything can happen, so to say, right? But of course, it's a better chance for the favorite, right? So if he loses the first one, he knows, okay, now I gotta win the next one, and so maybe you can have this little extra. Anyway, so all that comes down to is the chance of 51.36. I can do where's the order sum? So this would be the sum of this, and now I could say equals this divided by, because I don't want to count them. So he turned these he turned his 51. So I can't do that here. I have no idea. Really, it's annoying. Okay. Anyway, we made now I have to count them. Okay. So 25. So we made more or less 2,500 simulations, or let's say 250. No, that's 2,500 matches we simulated right now. And this is the percentage in favor of Carlsen still, by just 11.7 rating points, right? So any other answer you get would be wrong. I mean, you can't transpose these or just calculate the chances for a single game and transpose this to a match. It's a different. There is a formula, of course, in mathematics where you can calculate that exactly, right? But the problem here would be, well, the draws, yeah, the binomial distribution. it would give an answer. But you have those half points and, well, yeah, what I did here is, of course, assume that a 6-6 is an even chance for either one. So if they get to a tiebreak, it's an even chance, right? This is not reflected here. So any 6-6 in the match would still, right? Here's a 6-6. So what are the chances for the tiebreak? I just say it's 50%, so to say, right? So even Carlsen who could have a slightly better chance than that, right? Anyway, this is my answer to how it's 57.9%. That's the best answer you can get. So if market, the reciprocal, if you get a better price than 172 on Carlsen, you should bet it. And I was proposing that as well when he played Anand, because market had something like 135, I think. And Carlsen won, so I proposed you had to go for Carlsen. Now you would have to go again. I'm not checking the prices now, you can do that yourself. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you can do something.